Welcome everyone to Planet of NY Sports. Here we talk Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets, and a little bit of the Knicks and Nets. So I'm sorry everyone for the long break. Um, I was planning to do a Giants are in video. The Jets are out, and unfortunately on Monday night, Damar Hamlin. I don't even want to talk about this. Went into cardiac arrest. He did collapse during the Monday night game against the Bengals, and the guy literally, it's like, he stopped breathing. You can even say he died on the field, and he was revived. He is awake now. He has made an Instagram post since. He has talked to his teammates. Um, Roderick, do you have anything to say on this pretty tough subject?
Nothing but thoughts and prayers to him and his family. Um, I hope that he's recovering well, and as we've heard, that he's doing better. He's starting to be able to breathe on his own and whatnot. But thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family, and also some people have mentioned prayers to T Higgins too, because he received death threats about his whatever. It was a normal play. Obviously, there was no intent behind it. The people just irrationally came after him. So hope he's doing well too. And again, prayers to Damar Hamlin and his family.
Yeah, for sure. So now we will get into the playoff implications and scenarios of what happened. So I'm not going to go into that yet, though, because there's probably going to be a few rants about that, and probably a rant about a certain TV host who made a really terrible, untimely comment. But before we get into that, we're gonna do a little celebration real quick. We're just gonna be positive here, or we can go negative first. You know what? Let's go with the Giants being in. The New York Giants are in the playoffs for the first time since 2016, since the boat trip. Let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. It's nice to see Daniel Jones, 2 touchdowns passing, 2 on the ground. They actually scored, plus 30 points. I didn't think that would ever happen, but they did. And the Colts, I would say the one thing that was a little was the whole Kayvon Thibodeau thing with the snow angel. That was a little But still, the Giants are in the playoffs. We are locked into the 6th seed. And I do have some tweets here real quick. So, Richie James, I'm going to just shout out him. I know I've been killing the guy this whole entire year, but he has caught 81.4% of his targets this year. He did ball out against the Colts, and I think him and Daniel Jones do have a little connection going on. It's just, if he can just get rid of the fumbles and all that stuff, you'll be okay. And also, the Giants tomorrow against the Eagles, we are not playing our starters because literally we can't move. And for all the teams crying about it, not the Vikings, but like a team like, let's say, like the 49ers, who are like, oh, we can still get the first seed if you got no. The Giants, they don't have any depth. So it's like, we play our guys and then someone gets hurt, knowing our luck. And then you're in a tricky spot where, during the playoffs against most likely the Vikings, we're going to be playing, another depleted secondary member or something. I'm sure Roger could, be licking his chops at that thought, but we're not going to do that. We're just not, because we literally can't move. You're locked into the 6th seed. So yeah. Now going on to the negative side of things. Oh boy, the New York Jets. The New York Jets. The Jets are out. Roderick, do you just want to give me some thoughts on the Jets real quick?
So they're officially out of playoff contention with their loss to the Seattle Seahawks last Sunday, and there's not much to say that already hasn't been said. I mean, this was a great season from where the Jets were. Obviously, this is a vast improvement from the previous seasons and whatnot. A step in the right direction for sure. They obviously still don't know who's going to be their franchise quarterback, but all in all, a great season. And they learn a lot of things about themselves. They learn that they have a defense that can compete at a very high level. They learn that Sauce Gardner, the hype is real. They learn that they have some great weapons in Garrett Wilson. So there's a lot of positives to take away from the season, and obviously they ended up falling short. But if you're a Jets fan, you have no reason to be, overly upset, and I applaud them. They fought, they clawed, and in the end, it didn't really matter, but they tried, and that's all you can ask sometimes.
Okay. So I'm gonna be a little more on ranting side here. If I was a Jet fan, if I was a Jet fan in their situation, I'd be annoyed. I'd be annoyed just for the reason of this. You were what, like 7-4? Okay. And with the talent on this team, literally, if you had good QB play against the Patriots both times, and probably, another game, this Jet team is in the playoffs. And I would be annoyed because one, you're now going to get a mediocre draft pick most likely, especially if you beat the Dolphins. My gosh, like that is like, what's the point of even trying to win against the Dolphins at this point if you're the Jets? I mean, you're out of it. And like a lot of Jet fans, making this claim about, oh, Mike White, Mike White, Mike White. Well, guess what? Mike White is not the answer either, because you can say what you want about him, but he is too injury prone. So he's not the QB. You're going to be looking for a QB. Zach Wilson, he hasn't. We all know what's going on with Zach Wilson. I don't think they should get. I don't know who's going to take him at this point, and you may as well just keep him, because if you're the Jets and if you're their, the front office or whatever, you're going to be going in and you're going to be like, okay, we need to go and get another QB. That makes you look bad, and also, like, I don't. You can make the argument, like, because some fans have been making the argument that, like, hey, maybe they shouldn't, get rid of him right now. Like, he doesn't have to start, but the Jets did admit that they made a mistake not getting a veteran QB and throwing him into the fire too soon, which I think they did too. These rookie QBs, if they have someone to learn, under and just sit for a few games, that is very beneficial for them. It's better that way. If you're just throwing a QB into the fire, usually that's, I'm not going to say it's not going to work, but, it's very, it has mixed results of that. And if you let your QB now, let's say he sits and he learns before throwing him into the fire, you have a better chance at success. And Zach Wilson, his confidence has been shattered. I don't want to kill the guy too much. We've all done it here on this channel for a while now. But Roderick, do you just have any final thoughts on the Jets QB situation?
Like I said, they still haven't found the face of their franchise, but like you said, go draft somebody, maybe even trade up, Derek Carr, whatever you got to do. But like, you got to figure that out because this team is. I'm not gonna say ready to compete and make deep playoff pushes, but like you have the defense, you have some weapons. If you get a quarterback, like you said, this team will be in the playoffs right now. So you got to find that guy, and you got to find him quick. I don't know if it's in the draft or by trade, but you got to hurry up.
Yeah, so I would say they're definitely not going to draft a QB. Like there's just no way they're going to draft a QB, because that would just, they can't really trade up, because when you look at the teams that are in front of them and like the top two QBs that are available, they can't really, like with the Colts, the Texans, it's not going to happen. So, Roderick, can you just give me some more thoughts on the Jets and their season? I'll be right back. I have to go take care of something real quick.
So, okay. All right. So the Jets, 27-10. I mean, like I said several times already, they need to find a quarterback. They need to find somebody that's going to be able to help them win games every Sunday or Saturday or even Monday. Who knows? But they have to figure it out. And obviously, like we know, Zach Wilson isn't the answer, and neither is Mike White, in my opinion. But it has to be somebody. And people have talked about Derek Carr being the potential answer. I made a joke a couple podcasts ago, like, is David Carr the answer? And I mean, not David, Derek Carr the answer. And personally, I think he could. Yeah, I think he could be this team's, I guess, savior for a couple of years, a year or two, maybe even three. But as far as the Jets season goes, it's a success, and I know Russell's a little more pessimistic, and I was a little more optimistic, but it's a great season, and you hope that they can translate what they did this year onto next year with how the defense played. The defense kept them in a lot of games, especially that Patriots game where they blew it in the last couple of seconds. Like they kept that team together. They held them. I remember there was a stat. It was like the punter had more punts than Zach Wilson had yards. I mean, that's just an outrageous stat. So if the defense gets its or defense keeps where it's at, you find a quarterback, your receivers take another step, you get the running backs healthy, you get the O line up. This team could this team can make some noise, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Jets can make noise. That like, my whole issue, and I do agree with what you just said. Mike White is not the answer either. So all the Jet fans out there that are like trying to say that, just drop it at this point because it's not happening. Let's get real here. The guy is too injury prone. I know a lot of people like Boomer Esiason, for example, on WFAN. He has been saying, "Oh, that's not the real Mike White. Did you see what he did against the Bears? Against the Bears? Are you serious? Against the Bears? Is that what we're like holding a kitten? You cannot say that. I just can't believe he said that more than once. Oh, did you see what Mike White did against the Bears? I can do good against the Bears. Roger can do good against the Bears. Let's be real here. Let's calm down. Like, we're crying out loud. The Bears? The Bears. That's what you're going to know. And if you're hurt, then don't play. So I don't want to hear this statement of the real Mike White. What is the real Mike White? We don't know what that is because the guy's always hurt and he's not going to be the QB, the franchise QB. So just get over it, Jet fans. And they're probably not going to draft someone. And I'm going to go and just, disagree with Roderick here and, make the argument that Derek Carr is not going to handle New York. Now, I think they will probably pick him up anyway because, besides him and Jimmy G, like what else, you're going to get Geno Smith again? Like, I don't know if they would do that, or I don't know if Geno Smith wants to go back there. Now, so the thing with Derek Carr, I don't know. The guy, this isn't Vegas. This isn't Oakland. It'll be different here. And, all the, crying during post games and stuff, you can't do that here in New York. You cannot do that. We already saw how what happened with Zach Wilson in his post games and stuff. Please. And then you're going to bring in a guy that, looks like Sid from Toy Story, and that's going to be crying during post games. Please, no. But like I said, he's an upgrade over Zach Wilson, and or Mike White and Joe Flacco. Flacco is starting against the Dolphins. I guess, you don't want Zach Wilson to really get hurt because, if you're going to trade him, you don't want him to, And so I think Zach Wilson may even play this game anyway, though, because it just wouldn't surprise me knowing Joe Flacco if he gets hurt during this game or something, because the guy, let's just be real here, they just throw him out there if they need a dummy basically, because this game does not mean anything for the Jets. And it'll be interesting to see whether if they try to play to knock the Dolphins out, or if they're just all right, let's not get hurt here and let's just try not to get hurt, we'll mail it in. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Now we're going to go around the league here real quick, and I don't even know what to say. The playoff scenarios here, it's very weird. Kansas City, I don't want to say officially clinched the first seed, but they basically did. They're destroying the Raiders right now, 31-13. The Raiders, what a disappointing team. But seriously, buckle in, folks, buckle in. So, if Buffalo and Kansas City both win or tie, a Bills championship game, would be at a neutral site. If the Chiefs and Buffalo both lose, which isn't the case anymore, and Baltimore wins, then neutral site. And then if Buffalo and Kansas City lose, Cincinnati wins, Bengals Chiefs would be at a neutral site. So this is a tricky spot. Just an update here. The Chiefs have now put in their backup QB against the Raiders. Wow, oh, God. But this is really interesting because it's all like a neutral site is not the same. It is not the same as playing at home. And if you're going to be playing in a neutral site, in my opinion, it should not be in a dome because these are three teams that play outdoors. I would not make this game in Atlanta or in Indiana. I would not put it over there because, but that's what they're gonna do because, like, let's say if like a storm happens or something. But these are teams that play in the elements. These are teams that play in elements. They should be playing in the cold if this is going to be the case. Roderick, before I like basically kill this whole entire plan, what is your thought on like the whole neutral site stuff?
So yeah, me and my dad were talking about places they would put it at, and my whole thing was like they have to put it somewhere where it's somewhat in between Kansas City and Buffalo, because obviously if it's a neutral site, and like I did it earlier this year, you have to put it somewhere where both fan bases can make the trip, and it's not like in Seattle or in Tampa Bay where it's like that's just asinine. Like why are we putting it there? So I mean, like I thought about places like Cleveland, and but that's just like Russell said, if there's a storm, I mean, now you do that. I thought about places like, man, I don't even know, because like you could put it in Tennessee, but if Tennessee makes the playoff, put in Detroit, but that's in the like. There's a whole lot of places that would make sense, but it's just not. It doesn't make a lot of sense to put it anywhere right now. So I mean, it's just a rough situation. Obviously, you know how it got to this point, but they gotta they could have did a better job handling how this whole playoff scenario ended up being how it was. There were definitely some mistakes made.
Yeah, exactly. And just going on to the Bills and like let's let's be real here. The Chiefs lost to Buffalo and Cincinnati. They lost to both of those teams. So, me personally, if I was a fan of those teams, I would be quite annoyed, especially the Bengals, because I get it. You can't really replay the game, but you have a bye week. You have that bye week, but you know how the NFL loves that bye week. It's stupid, and but in between like the championship game and the Super Bowl, like I don't, I just they could have gotten rid of that, but they're not going to because one, it could mess up people's travel plans that have already have tickets, and they just like to boost up the game and have all the celebrities, blah blah blah. That's just like who cares, because once upon a time there was not a bye week between the championship game and then the Super Bowl. There was not a bye week, so you could have gotten rid of that because now it's if Buffalo was willing to play there, I would say just do it. But I don't know if they were. But it's like it's just so tough because if you're the Bengals, let's say the Chiefs before today, the Chiefs, like let's just say they lose. A crazy scenario happens where the Chiefs they lose, and then the Bengals maybe they win tomorrow against the Ravens, and then let's say they replay the game at some point, or not replay, but resume, and then they beat the Bills. They get the 1 seed. So if I'm a Bengal fan who's getting screwed over here, I would be mad. And then there's also another scenario where the Bengals can get screwed over. I'll put it on the screen right now. So if the Ravens win Sunday against the Bengals in their match against Cincinnati, who won the division technically, there's going to be a coin flip to decide who gets home field. That's asinine. Like what are we doing here? So you mean to tell me my team, we win the division, and we're obviously we're going to have a draft pick in the 20s, and that's already guaranteed, but we may not even play at home. That's just stupid. Like what are we doing here? Roderick, what's your thoughts on a potential coin toss to decide home field?
It epitomizes the NFL decision making as of recent. It's just like, okay, we put so much emphasis on winning a division. We put so much emphasis on winning games. We put so much emphasis on home field advantage in the playoffs. And now we're just going to decide a coin flip, a little luck of the draw to decide who's going to get home. Like, what are we doing here? It's just like how people view the overtime coin toss in any overtime game. It's just it's very It's very stupid. I hate to use that word, but it's just dumb, flat out. And you hope that this never happens again. That it's never happened before. So there's always that to look at. But there hasn't been. There's not much I can say that you already haven't said. It's just stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Like a coin to like now the Bengals, you should not lose to the Ravens anyway. You just really should not. Tomorrow you shouldn't lose to them because like Tyler Hunt like you just shouldn't lose that game. But let's just say they do. You still won the division. If you win a division, you get a home game. So this whole but I can also see okay, the Ravens technically they would have had beat the Bengals twice, go ahead, Roger.
The Chiefs have officially won.
Okay,
Officially.
so there you have it, everyone. The Chiefs are officially the number one seed in the AFC, even though they lost to the Bills and the Bengals. This is just stupid. If you're a Bills fan too, I would be, I'd be pissed personally because a game at Orchard Park is not the same as a game in, let's say, they're probably going to put it in Atlanta, even though, I would like to see the game in Cleveland or like Roderick said, or so like Tennessee, but that's kind of tricky, but still somewhere in that type of place, maybe even, maybe MetLife. I don't know. Just what are you going to say, Roger?
Actually, it won't be that tricky because if they do play each other, Tennessee won't be playing anymore. So they could at this point they could put it anywhere.
Yeah, but still, it's. I mean, yeah, they could do that, but
It'd be crazy if they put it in Cincinnati. That would be crazy.
if they do that, that's
That
just
would
like
be funny.
that's just disrespectful at that point. Disrespectful. Like, you're gonna screw over Cincinnati and then you're gonna put the neutral site in their sit like that's just
That would be insane. Oh my god.
I would be gosh. No.
You would have to people be like, are they against Cincinnati? Like, is there some conspiracy going on here or something like that?
This is just ridiculous. But yeah, so Mahomes gets a bye week.
Congrats.
It's just not this. It's not the same. If you're playing in a neutral, like if you're Buffalo, it's not the same. Like because they're gonna put this game in a dome. They're going to. That's just what the NFL likes to do now. They're gonna put it in a dome. But this is not the Super Bowl though. So I don't know. I don't understand why these teams play in the elements. These teams they play in the elements. So I just don't get it.
Well, I can kind of see where they're coming from because if these are all teams that play in the elements, if it's supposed to be a neutral site, I mean, doesn't that mean you play in a dome just to take away the element factor of it?
Yeah, but
I could see that.
Which dome are you going to though? Because
I'd say Detroit.
Okay, but I think Detroit actually may be booked for that weekend though. That's why I think they've booked. They already have something going on. That's another thing with these domes because they host other things. So it's like, okay, if you can't put it,
that's impossible. They can't book anything. Detroit makes they can book if Detroit doesn't make the playoffs, but
yes, they can. No, because Detroit would play all playoff games on the road. So if they did,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so therefore they can book because they would be a 7 seed if they did somehow make it. But
then again, I mean, who's really selling out a stadium?
Yeah, it's just But and then you're making those fans though. You're making them all make the trip out there, wherever this place is going to be. It's just like, oh gosh.
And no matter what, somebody's going to complain. No matter what.
Except Chiefs fans. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're.
Oh, they have no excuse now. You've been given everything. You've been given everything.
Yeah, the Chiefs have no excuse now. If the Chiefs do not go to the Super Bowl, we're going to be all over them here at this channel because this is just seriously.
They lost to both teams and
exactly that's what I said. They lost to the Bills and the Bengals. They lost to the Bills at home. I just don't. Man,
and they never beat the Bengals either in Mahomes' tenure. So it's just
exactly.
It's all bad, and it all feels like it's just going in the Chiefs' way, which really, as you can tell, upsets Russell. Me not as much, but it really just pisses people off. Mm-hmm. So, good job, Roger. Good job,
Roderick. let's just move over now to Carlos Correa. You can just give an update real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, so Carlos Correa, obviously the saga continues with him and his contract as the Mets found that he had some concern with one of his injuries from back in 2014 with his leg. As of right now, there has been no more, I guess, big updates, but Steve Cohen has said that they are going to try to do everything in their power to keep Correa in the orange and blue, which is obviously all you can ask for, all you can hope for at this point. There has been some lobbying with Scott Boras and not Andy Martino. Actually, maybe Andy Martino. But there has been some lobbying. Oh yeah, Andy Martino. There has been some lobbying between John Heyman and Scott Boras trying to make the Mets make a move, trying to make Correa make a move. Other than that, it's been pretty dead. I mean, talks are supposed to pick up, as we've been told for the last like 5 years. It feels like, but hopefully he makes up his mind shortly here, so I can stop, sweating at night thinking about this. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I just feel like this thing is never gonna end. It's just like I don't really know at this point. It feels like it's been going on forever. Just watching this as like a neutral party here. Like, I mean, like I said before we started this, I said I would give the Mets more like leverage in this scenario because if you're Boris, you're going to have future clients and you have the highest, the owner that has like more money than God. And so let's just say, okay, you strain that relationship if you do like, pull out of this deal here or whatever. It like, do you really want that? Like for a guy like Juan Soto, like, if he's going to be looking for a deal and if Steve Cohen is willing to pay big bucks for him, do you really want to ruin that relationship for your client? Because if they make more money, you do. So, it's kind of like I would give the Mets more leverage here. Roderick, who do you think has more leverage in this scenario?
Yeah, definitely the Mets, especially for all the reasons you just stated. Boris has a lot of I mean, not a lot a lot of clients, and like I told you, Juan Soto. Obviously, he probably isn't going to the Mets, but there was a point in time where everybody thought he was. So don't want to upset the owner with all the money. Don't want to have him, all pissed off. So, be a good agent. Let Correa sign with the Mets.
Yeah, exactly. And like, if you go like I just it's hard. Like, is he gonna like really go now and oh okay, I have this, plate in my life, blah blah. Hey Minnesota, do you guys want like it's just like I don't know where he's gonna get like a deal now. It's so like let's just say you don't take this. This is gonna still be you're still gonna get some years here. Now let's say you don't take this deal and then you find yourself again, if you're Carlos Correa, taking another like 1 year deal, which you technically already did like last season. There was an opt out, but obviously it was he was going to bet on himself, blah blah blah. So it's just like if like seriously, man, you got to work it out with the Mets if you're Carlos Correa. You seriously do. Now, I just quickly, Roderick wanted to talk about a certain well, no, not an owner, but a guy that's on a very interesting TV show. His name is Skip Bayless. He made a very tasteless tweet. We can read it right now. Here we go. So he says, no doubt NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? This late in season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. So he was correct. But here's the problem. The guy literally posted it the night of when this happened, which is just completely stupid by Skip Bayless. Before I get into him, pause. Roderick, do you have any thoughts on Skip Bayless and this tasteless tweet?
Like you said, the tweet itself is correct. Obviously, looking at it now, it makes a lot of sense as to what he said. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm alone on this. But like, you don't say that when somebody's potentially about to die on national television. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in that. Maybe it's just me. Hopefully, it's not just me. But like, the dude was on the ground and wasn't conscious. And let me go on Twitter with my keyboard fingers and then just type something completely something complete irreparable. Like you just don't say that. Like it's it shows a lack of awareness. It shows a lack of almost I even want to say a lack of caring. Because if that's your son out there and you see somebody tweet, they have to continue this game, basically saying forget what happened to Damar Hamlin on the field, I'd be pissed off. And I'd have some choice words for him. So you gotta know when to shut up. You really have to, especially if you're Skip Bayless. Like, if you're some Joe Schmo on his couch, okay, say whatever you want. Nobody's gonna hear you. Nobody really cares. But like, just, you're putting that out to probably thousands of not, if even more than that, people. It's just stupid.
Yeah, and obviously, Shannon felt a certain way about that too because he did not show up to work the next day. He did not. And Skip, here's the thing about Skip. The show, I don't think
Skip.
Skip, nobody the ratings of that show, well, actually, the ratings did go up thanks to this, stupid asinine comment he made. But when Shannon coming back, obviously the ratings are going to go up. People want to see how that was handled. And Skip, he says that he stands by his tweet. He's not deleting it. So I mean, if you want to give him props for that, whatever, go ahead. I don't really care. Now, here's the thing. Skip is he's kind of boring to me personally. Skip is boring. I think he is. I like me personally, I like First Take more. I think it's more entertaining. The thing about Fox Sports is they would not. I have a hard time, seeing them basically terminate his contract. But here's the thing with Skip. They don't want him to go to ESPN. Now, I don't know if ESPN would take him after this, after this tweet. It's really bad. And to be honest, I would make Mad Dog, Christopher Russo, Stephen A's full partner, if anything. I would not go back to the Skip and Stephen A part. I wouldn't do that. It's just Skip, he's just like Fox, FS1. They know, or Fox, they know they got to keep him because, they don't want him going to ESPN. So that's why they made him apologize. But the guy, he didn't even fully apologize. He did not fully apologize. That's the problem here. Like, he was like, oh, I stand by this tweet, which, again, it's correct. But at the time when someone, possibly could have died on national television and you're talking about a game, or what, have some compassion. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Seriously. And like Roderick said before, if it's some random Joe who's sitting on a couch, hey, I'm gonna say this because I think I'm a smart. No, okay, whatever. Nobody cares. But you, knowing the large following you have, you're making that stupid tweet. Like, how can you do that? Seriously, how can you do that? And Shannon, when Shannon was basically talking about it, Skip interrupted the guy. He didn't even Shannon couldn't even get through like a full statement here without Skip interrupting him. I'm sick of Skip. I'm not watching that show anymore. All they do is talk about LeBron, the Cowboys, and Tom Brady on it anyway. But still, oh gosh, it's just so frustrating. Roderick, do you have any closing thoughts on Skip Bayless?
Yeah. Here's some food for thought. What if he did die? And now look how stupid you look. Because he's more like you said, he's more focused on the game. But then if the player actually had died, now you look like a fool now, and you will look like even more of a fool if the worst case scenario happened. Thank God it didn't, obviously. But I've heard some bad things been said. As Russell knows, I've heard some things, but this man, it shows a level of just disrespect that I haven't seen in a very long time, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, and just looking on the views of this tweet here, he had 166.8 million views on this tweet. So obviously, you just can't do that. You cannot do that. You have that large, I wouldn't say fan base, but you have a large following of people, and then you're going to make this statement. How can you do that? Gosh, gosh. Let you know what? I'm not going to get into it too much here.
He's not worth it. He's not worth it. He's not.
Yeah, it's just
at
really.
all.
It's just terrible by a guy that is really fell off these past few years. The show has fell off. They talk about the same thing
You know
literally.
what? You
It's
almost wonder if this was like a tactic to just get the show more views. Honestly, that's the only thing that I can even see that makes some sense at
I
this
mean,
point.
you can say that, but then Shannon didn't show up to work the next day, so obviously it wasn't. So it's like, God, like
Let's just move on before
let's,
we just start.
yeah, let's move on here. So, anyways, the Yankees have hired Brian Sabine and Omar Minaya. So I want to go into that. As Roderick says, Mets legend. So basically, I guess we can go into Brian Sabine first. So he is a former San Francisco executive, and if you know, when they won those titles, hey, this is good because he was the architect of like that Giants, early 2010s dynasty, and they had three rings during that time. So I mean, if I'm the Yankees here, this is good because you boost up that front office, which is what I've been saying is a problem. Now you're keeping Cashman, which is like whatever, all right, but I think this is Hal's way of saying, oh, no, we're going to get some more guys here that have like a winning pedigree. We're going to have them help develop our team, which is good. It's good to see because Brian Sabine he can help you a lot. He was with the Yankees before, but he did leave them in 1993 for the Giants. So if you're the Yankees, it's like this is a really good move in my opinion with Brian Sabine. And then moving on to Omar Minaya, I also think this is a good move because, like I said, you can get all the help you need with this front office because it has not been great in terms of developing, or prospect evaluation, just getting certain players. Cashman needs some help, and just having these guys in here, like with good experience, I think can definitely help the Yankees. So, Roderick, what's your thoughts on the Yankees boosting their front office?
All right. Obviously, this is a much needed move, as Russell has talked about. Brian Cashman is not the most desired man in New York right now. But pause. But good for them. Obviously, isn't as a rival, I'll say, not as an outsider. I'll just say, good for them. Obviously, you know, we like having a lot of brain power in an organization. You get guys like Omar Minaya who have a lot of experience in that field, and um, they're gonna help. I don't think they're gonna take away from anything. Hopefully, Cashman gives them a what's the word? Gives them an ability to make some decisions to an extent. But yeah, nice signing. Whatever.
And also, I just want to go on like here. So basically, when you look at the Astros, Braves, and the Dodgers, the last three World Series champions, those guys or those teams, they developed players. They had a lot of homegrown guys. If you're, well, like maybe not the Dodgers as much, but I'm just saying in terms of when you compare them to the Yankees, we have not developed a lot of contributors besides Judge. Like who's a main contributor, and especially in our lineup, forget about it. Who's the main contributor if for the Yankees? Like Glaber, you hardly developed too because you traded for him. He wasn't originally here. So and Glaber, he's not the greatest player. But when you look at teams like the Braves, they have homegrown guys. When you look at teams like the Dodgers, at that time they still have more than the Yankees at that 2020 year. I know there's an asterisk on it, but and then the Astros got a bunch of guys that were there before. So if you're the Yankees, you really need to get better talent evaluation, and I think this will help. Now, last topic of today, we are going to move on to some basketball. We can go into the Nets first. So the Nets are now second in the East. Wow. This is really interesting. Before, like I was saying, you got to see if are they going to play as a team or is there going to be like a lot of issues here, And Kyrie, ever since his last controversy, I'm gonna knock on some wood here. Pause. But he's kept his mouth shut. Relative, he's been and there hasn't been any issues as of late, and they're just playing as a team, and it's nice to see for the Nets. And um, Vaughn, Vaughn, Vaughn has been a nice, refreshing head coach. And I think it's pretty clear that maybe Steve Nash was the problem because these guys didn't play for him, but they're definitely playing for Vaughn. They're in the second seed, which I didn't think we'd see. I thought, the highest the Nets would maybe get is the 4 seed, like, during the season, because like there's always something like a dark cloud surrounding them. And now they're second in the East. They beat the Pelicans yesterday, 108-102. And it's just it's really nice to see. So, Roderick, how do you feel about the Nets being second in the East?
I don't watch too much basketball. I'll start with that. But I'm just hoping that Kyrie just keeps his nose clean so Russell could wear that Mets jersey. And, hey, that's all I care about. I'm glad the Nets are doing good. I'm glad that they're starting to find some form. And they're doing it quietly, which hasn't always been the case with the Nets. But good. I'm glad that they're doing well.
Yeah, and now we can move on to the New York Knicks. The Knicks, they are now 6th in the East as of right now. They beat the Raptors yesterday, 112-108. It's been kind of up and down for the Knicks. It's been really up and down. I will say that because the last time we talked, they did start that losing streak. They did start the losing streak, but they've brought it back as of late. They did beat the Suns. They beat the Spurs, Roderick's favorite team. I know that's pretty tough. And then they also they beat the Raptors. So a nice little winning streak here if you're the Knicks. It'll be interesting to see what they do at like the trade deadline because I'm also seeing some articles now on possibly trading Obi Toppin because Julius Randle has been balling out. I will admit, him and Jalen Brunson. It'll be interesting to see what they do because there has been rumors of a guy like Zach LaVine. But if you're the Knicks, I don't understand why you would do that, though, because, you're going to trade assets for a guy that's always hurt. And that's just like that's like a weird, that's like a win now move. But like the Knicks, they're not a win now team per se. They're not a win now. They're not a win now team. And you got these picks and then, you're going to trade that and a young player or two for Zach LaVine. And I don't even know if the Bulls would trade Zach LaVine at this point because they've kind of brought it back a little and are now 9th in the East and they're basically in a play-in spot. So, Roderick, did you have any reactions to getting beat by the Knicks?
No, but I have some horrible news. RJ Barrett's hurt. It's terrible news. I mean, I'm going to go cry after the show. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, RJ Barrett is hurt. Roderick's favorite basketball player. Roderick, how do you feel about RJ Barrett being injured?
I feel like the sky is falling. I feel like Chicken Little right now, and hope he recovers soon. And RJ Barrett, he's a great basketball player, if not the greatest. So, yeah.
Yes, RJ Barrett did get hurt in the game against Dallas, and so he hasn't played since. I'm pretty sure he has like a tendon popped out of his finger. It's gross. I don't want to really talk about that. Oh, we got some news here before we end this video. Sean McVay and his future with the Rams is in limbo. Roderick, just real quick here before we end this, do you see McVay coming back to the Rams?
Nope. Chunky soup commercials. That's all I got to say. That's it.
Yeah, I'm going to agree there. I don't think he is coming back because when you look at it this way and he has like that broadcasting deal basically lined up for him whenever he decides to, and he's going to get paid more money. And with the uncertainty of Aaron Donald, who also considered retiring, what, you didn't know that, Roger? Like,
No, it's a very touching scene right here
oh,
in the Jaguars Titans game, as everybody has taken to midfield. They're holding hands, the coaches, the players, the staff, and they're what I would assume be praying for about Damar Hamlin. It's just a very touching scene right now. Um, but you can continue to what you're saying. I was just reacting to that because I
yeah,
was confused to what was going on at first. But this, yeah,
yeah, I see it now too. Okay, that's something.
it's just great. It just shows how much he meant to like the football as a whole. And again, we touched on it to start the show, but we just hope he's doing well.
Yeah, we can touch on it to end the show. We hope
Yeah,
Damar is doing okay. We hope he progresses, and we thank like the doctors that were also able to basically revive this guy. And it's really nice to see that he's talking again. Active on social media. It's just really good. So with that, I think we can end on a positive note, and we'll see you guys in
wait, do we do we want to touch on the Vikings Giants potentially?
real quick. Real quick, if there's potential, well, it's looking likely the Giants will play the Minnesota Vikings, where again Roderick has well, yeah, like
I have everything. It's
Roderick has
all on me.
everything to lose here. The Giants, like I said, our season is a success. The Vikings season is not as of right now. For them, it's Super Bowl. For us, we don't really care. It's like if we just do anything, it's a cherry on top. For the Vikings, though, in Roderick's opinion, you did say you want a Super Bowl this season, right?
Yes, my hand has nothing on it. That's a problem. Pause. Pause. Heavy pause on that. Hold on. Wait a second. Heavy pause. Hold on. Give me a minute. Hold on. Let's rewind for a second. I have no Super Bowl ring on my finger. Is what
Okay. But yeah, like Roderick
what a
said,
way to end it.
he does. There is a level of expectation for us. There will be if it stays the same. There will be a bigger debate video than the one before. You guys thought that was big. We may have a guy from Germany that comes on here, and we will have another Giant fan on. So with that, we'll see you hopefully in that video. Hopefully nothing crazy happens, and then we're not facing each other, and then it would be like, it'd be anticlimactic and whatever. But with that, please hit the like button. Please hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video here at Planet